welcome to Scorched Earth and the general mid-month reading for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the last 2 weeks of May. I hope you are well. I'm using the Llewellyn Tarot for you today. So if you haven't seen these readings before, and I know that we have had a few extra subscribers to the channel this month, let me just explain to you what we do here in the mid-months. We are looking for the lesson. It is, if you will, an exercise in perspective. I think sometimes when challenging things happen, you know, we look back at that period and we can say, oh, my life changed there. You know, I learned loads of stuff there. But when we're right in the middle of it, often it's really difficult to see. You know, we get bogged down with stuff, and you know, 3D concerns tend to sweep over us and take our attention away, you know. Whereas if we could pull back from it just a little bit to try and work out why we're in that energy, or what is going on with us, we might have an easier time of navigating it. So that's what these readings are about. We're going to pull 3 cards and see what your current energy is right now. What is the circumstance that you find yourself in? And from there, we will pull 3 cards and see what it's trying to teach you, right? I believe there is wisdom or a lesson contained in every experience and interaction that we have, if you are open to seeing it. And like I say, often we're not. So we'll do that. Pull 3 cards, see why you're there, see if we can't see what the lesson is for you. And then from there, we will also pull 3 cards of advice. They're going to be shorter, but they're shorter by design, because they're supposed to just be like an energetic snapshot of what's going on. So let's have 3 cards for Capricorn, please. First card out is the Magician. That's a nice card. I like that. It's a good strong start. We have also down here, oh, we have the 5 of Swords. Interesting. Okay. Sublime to ridiculous. And we also have the World. Okay. This is interesting. Not least because we have the King of Wands at the bottom of the deck here, followed by the Empress and the Devil. There you are. And we have the 9 of Swords behind it. So already we've got this notion of excavation, right? I'm having to dig to find what's going on underneath here. The King of Wands is about the actions that we take. It's about the actions that you are taking on a day-to-day level here, Capricorn, in pursuit of abundance, right? In pursuit of those things that make you feel happy and stable and secure. You know, the Empress is, after all, a Taurus sign, and you know, we've just had that solar eclipse in Taurus, and we've just had a lunar eclipse in Scorpio on the other side of the zodiac there. And then we have you and the 9 of Swords and the Ace of Cups, right? This is a period of renewal for you, if you can allow it to happen. And when we talk about this a lot, but the Ace of Cups is about, it is about renewal. It's renewal of the self more often for me than anything else. It's not necessarily about new love, except that where it's expressed towards ourselves, you know. But it's also about forgiveness, and it's also about compassion. And so where we see these 3 cards together here, it's like, where can you be more compassionate to yourself, Capricorn? Where can you give yourself a bit of an easier time than you usually do about things? Because the energies of the eclipse season, certainly that we're in at the moment, and definitely that full moon that we've just had here, is about, I think, shifting the way that you see yourself. Meaning that it will shift the way that you go about these things here too, because we do have the Magician as the very first card, right? You are capable, intelligent, you know, self-confident, all of these good things. But it feels to me like there's a little bit of something that kind of rattles along underneath for you that can be occasionally kind of elusive, trying to get hold of. The doubt sleeps in sometimes, you know. And this feels more like a life thing than a work thing here for you, Capricorn. You know, most Capricorns that I know find a considerable amount of release and validation within their workspaces, right? Things are predictable, they can control them, they know where they are with them, and that all works. But this seems to be speaking to the bits of your life that aren't covered by that, right? Where can we open them up? Where can we loosen things off a little bit, so that there is that same appreciation of the abundance that lives there, rather than just on the other side here? Because you have got this 5 of Swords. Now, the Magician and the Five of Swords could be quite a tricky combination together, because the Magician has the ability to be able to manipulate all of the elements to get what he needs out of things, right? Not in a pejorative sense, in a very straightforward, this is how, working with universal energies works. And in many ways you are very, very successful, but there is something running along underneath here. This Five of Swords is speaking to, Pyrrhic victories often. And Capricorn, do you have a number of Pyrrhic victories in your emotional spaces? It felt like you won, but actually deep down you knew that you didn't. I feel like that is talking to this. The fact that we've got the World card here is bringing it to completion, right? It's bringing this to a close. Not because there are never going to be opportunities for you to kind of say what you need to win and then kind of run away, but more, it's like this kind of ceases to be an activity that you indulge in, I feel like sometimes you shut people down as a byproduct of kind of shutting yourself down somewhat. Yeah, that's Five of Swords. That's Five of Swords, please. Yeah, I mean, we've got the Moon card and we've got the Star card, right? And the Moon card, I love it in the Triple Goddess. I mean, we're literally got somebody who is looking at themselves. The Moon card is all of those things that you do not see. And often when they're really close to you, as in things that are within you, you do not see them. It's, for me, a card of the subconscious too, right? What is there that's rattling along in your subconscious that you are not paying attention to? Because I think if you, whether you like it or whether you don't, it's coming up for healing right now with this Star card here, right? Renewal, regeneration, compassion, forgiveness, all of these things that we've already spoken about here, all pointing towards this Five of Swords. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a Pyrrhic victory. Got the Ace of Pentacles there, but more about where you put your energy, right? We all know this whole thing about, where attention goes, energy flows. And I think for some signs, and Capricorn, you are one of them, not giving something your attention is your way of kind of shutting it down, moving on, not dealing with it. Unfortunately, there are some things that grow very nicely in the dark, mushrooms for a start. I'm trying to think of other things. Well, effectively everything grows in the dark until it breaks the surface, right? But the other thing that grows down there is the shadow. And, if you haven't seen my shadow videos, I'll link both of them at the end, actually. So I've done 2 so far. There are more to come. I just haven't had time to do them yet. Right. And so there's a lot to do here with other people's expectations, for sure. But your expectations of yourself that are clipped. I want to use the word clipped. I don't know why, but clipped. It's like, no, I want to achieve within this area here, within this arena, and everything else is extraneous to this. And I only want to do this because this, I know where I am with this. Outside of this, I don't know where I am, and that is disconcerting and I don't like it. Well, it seems like, whatever is separating this from that is now getting broken down, and the ways in which you have clipped yourself, Capricorn, feel like they're coming to the surface, not to punish you. Not to punish you at all. This card fell out while I was shuffling the others out, right? And I just picked it up and looked at it to see what it was. It's about where you can redeploy your energy. Now, the point is, when you are studiously ignoring something, and I'm sure this came up for you in the monthly reading too, you are expending a lot of energy in swerving that, right? I don't believe that's there, so I'm going to be... You would trip over it. You would trip over it if you just didn't know that it was there. You're moving around and doing things. You'd be like, well, shit, here's this shadow stuff that's just come up. But you don't. You swerve it. You avoid it. And whatever's coming up for you in this next 2-week period, and it's probably pretty strong already. Excuse me. So pay attention to anything that is making you feel uncomfortable, things that are making you feel bad, that you want to immediately switch your attention to, because those are the things to lean into this month here, right? Give it your attention, because things do grow in the dark. And if you can take your attention out of ignoring something, you gain it back to yourself to put it into something else. And so to that end, you know, if there are things of an emotional nature that are really giving you, you know, a bit of an issue at the moment, if keeping yourself on the straight and level is also proving to be slightly difficult for you at this point, this is why, because not all of you is invested in what it is that you're trying to do. Right. Oh, I feel like I've actually explained why you're in this energy at the moment, but let's see what the cards have to say. Tell me about why Capricorn is in this energy here. We have the Queen of Pentacles straight away. There's the Capricorn card. There's the Two of Swords, beautifully describing everything that I've just said. I mean, I'll go through it with you in a second there. But we have the Hermit there, right? Five of Wands at the bottom of the deck, indicating that there is a considerable conflict within you about something, right? There is something that you are resisting, and yet there is something that persists. And is that not, to quote my chaos magician friend, you know, what you resist persists, and it does. It changes its clothes, might change its face. You know, the actor that comes and delivers this lesson to you in resistance will change every time, but these same patterns will come back again and again and again until you can actually go, actually I'm ready to face this, I'm ready to come into it. Because this is about finding you. There's the Queen of Pentacles. I've said this before, but it's always struck me as bizarre, just as the King of Cups was Scorpio and the Queen of Pentacles was Capricorn. Like, why? Because, you know, I've known plenty of Scorpios over my life, and they actually did not want to wear, you know, to engage with their own emotions. In fact, they kept those very tightly bound down. Queen of Pentacles doesn't know how to look after herself. Well, Capricorns don't know how to look after themselves. No disrespect here, Capricorn. I am a Capricorn ascendant. Like, we put ourselves to the bottom of the pile, and we put things like our mental and spiritual health at the bottom of the pile often. You know, unless you happen to, you know, be born into a circumstance where you, as a person, have been elevated, you know, as a child. Often what you've done is ended up being put in situations where it's your achievements that are valued over you as a person. And over time, that's what you bring into yourself. And these things seem to be polar opposite to, you know, what the meaning of the cards are here. Except that perhaps that's the pursuit. Perhaps that's the goal. Right? Scorpio is the King of Cups because they have the ability to feel so deeply. They may not enjoy it, they may not like it, but the capacity resides therein nonetheless. With the Queen of Pentacles, you know, you have the ability to be a very soft, nurturing, caring soul, right? But you have to start with yourself. You have to learn how to do that for yourself. And if you don't, then it's going to have a ripple effect with everyone, you know, with all of your other relationships. Your first primary relationship is with yourself. All others, even if they are with your parents, your children, whatever, they are secondary to the relationship that you have with yourself. And if you've not enjoyed being in your own skin for a while, and I think there are points at which that will be true for most of you, then this is the reason why. Because this Two of Swords here, just with the Moon and the Five of Swords before it, is talking to those things that you do not see because you choose not to see them. She's deliberately blindfolded herself. She's got her back to the moon. She's got her back to the water. You know, we're talking about intuition. We're talking about the subconscious. We're talking about emotion, really strong emotion. I don't see it. I'm only using my mind, right? Some things have to be felt through, Capricorn, not thought through. And this 2-week period seems to me to be the point at which you are understanding that, because these feelings are not going to go away. They're not going to just dissolve in the way that we would like them to do so we can get on with being successful at other things. You know, this takes that considerable moral effort that Jung spoke of, going in, having a look to see exactly what it is that you are choosing not to see at this point. You know, it's hard work, but it is thoroughly worth it. It's thoroughly worth it. If you could take that feeling that you have in the bits of your life where you feel strong and you feel capable and you feel stable, you feel like everything is on track, and you could spread that out into every aspect of your life, that would be life-changing. You know, that would be huge. And this is what you're being asked to do at this time. Have some cards of advice, please, for Capricorn. We have the Queen of Wands, we have the Nine of Cups, and we have the Seven of Swords. Yeah, I mean, the thing, they say sunlight is the best disinfectant. I mean, you know, this is what the Hermit is bringing down here. He's bringing down the light into the darkness. It's talking about bringing it all out to the surface for it to be seen. You know, the Queen of Wands is a card that speaks to me of visibility. It's Aries energy, but it talks about confidence. It talks about, you know, that willingness to engage. It's kind of feisty, that energy there. There's nothing within you that is terrifying. There is nothing within you that you cannot handle, but there is within you something that can make you stronger, make you more confident. You know, if you are willing to make it visible. I'm talking about the shadow, and if you don't know what I mean, just cut the deck and the moon's there. If you don't know what I mean, I really would recommend that you watch the shadow videos to get a handle of what I'm talking about. They'll be up at the end, you know, because we've got the Nine of Cups and we've got the Seven of Swords here. It does suggest to me that there's a twofold thing here, that for you, achieving emotional, you know, a state of emotional happiness, emotional well-being, is always going to involve somewhat of a risk for you. It's going to feel like a risk because you are exposing yourself, and Capricorn does not like to expose themselves. But equally, you know, as I'm sure it was the last video I pointed it out to you, you know, you are the sea goat. You are an animal of dual element there. Yes, you can reside on land, on the earth, but you can also reside in the water. It's just for you to take that leap, you know. The other thing that this would say here is, you know, consider where it is that you are actually actively deceiving yourself about what it is that makes you happy. Do not mistake what is easy for what makes you happy. You know, truly, the route to happiness usually involves going through rather than around or back on yourself the things that are difficult, the things that are challenging, because happiness is not a destination, it's a state of being. It's what you carry around with you. And so if you are sat in a mindset of going, well, I will be happy when I achieve this, that, and the other, you will be constantly chasing those achievements. If instead, you know, like, I'm going to be happy where I am, and I'll be happy over there, and I'll be happy, and I'll even be happy if the tower hits and all this shit happens, because I know that there's something bigger and better going on for me. It's aligning me with a certain path. It's a change in perspective, Capricorn. And I actually think it's really exciting because it has the potential to blow up into something really, really big that will change your life. If you can change your perspective on what is going on in here and the way that you are relating to the world outside of you too. I think this has the capacity to lead you towards that state of happiness that you can then carry with you no matter what, you know. Speaking of state of happiness, you know, we've also got that Sun card down there, meaning the same thing. But for you, it is critically important that your emotions play a part in this, because you're cutting off the experience at the knees before it has a chance to grow into something beautiful, you know. So, I'm going to leave it there, Capricorn, short and sweet. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I will see you soon.